because every year I give a holiday gift to my family and my brothers, a book. Every year I have to struggle. This year, that year, it was not hard. And the good news, unlike every other year, where they usually put it on the shelf, they actually read it. But I also want to thank her for writing what I think is the most beautiful pieces of Chicago history ever written, told through the eyes of Ida Mae during the Great Migration to come here to the city of Chicago. As you know from the title is taken from a beautiful poem by Richard Wright, who Isabel refers to in the book as the Bard of the Great Migration. And while Richard Wright wrote a great poem, the definitive poetry of the Great Migration, I think we can all now claim that Isabel Wilkerson has written the definitive prose of the Great Migration. Now, most people associate the American immigrant story with Emma Lazarus' poem. And like my grandfather, who first came to Chicago in 1917 as a 13-year-old, he came here because of the pull and promise of a country. He came as a 13-year-old by himself, whose parents, because of the grounds of Eastern Europe, wanted him to get away from the threat on his life to start anew by himself. But there's another story, one told in this book. The journeys many have started from different places, whether those journeys begin in Mexico or Mississippi. Generations of people have come to this city because they have dreams of giving their children opportunities that would not and could not be possible anywhere else. Isabel tells this story in prose, but it is also told by the people of this city in their life stories in this room. Stories of parents and grandparents in the South who heard about a beautiful city on the lake, one where, yes, they could find solid jobs, but also where they could finally find social justice. Yes, they heard about a city of smokestacks and stockyards that would give them a good earning, but they also heard about the schools that would finally give their children a good education. That was and is the promise of the city of Chicago. And the question for us today is whether Chicago still lives up to that promise of being the best city in the country to find a job, start a business, and raise a family. That is the question this book challenges us with, and that is why it's not just a book about our past, but in my view, what we were just talking about earlier, is whether it also, and I think it does, tells us about our future. It reminds all of us the work that remains ahead of us in order to keep the promise of Chicago alive for people in generations to come, who come from around the world, who come from around the country, or who migrate around the city. That is why I wanted to have all of us read The Warmth of Other Suns for one book, one Chicago, 1 year. And that is why I'm honored to welcome Isabel to Chicago.